you're gonna be like, "Khalas, I can't." Everybody's gonna just get overwhelmed and not know where to start.
We tend as human beings to go to extremes.
Your day-to-day will tell me what you're at risk of developing.
I don't want to call it being healthy or get on the, because it's a journey.
There's no such thing as a longevity board certification. That's
biology
true.
dictates reality. Welcome back to Becoming Limitless. Today, I'm joined by Dr. Mishkat Shehata, a UK-trained physician and one of the region's leading voices in healthspan and longevity medicine. With more than 15 years of clinical and executive leadership experience, she has played a pivotal role in shaping the longevity landscape in the Middle East. She previously commissioned and led the GCC's largest hospital-based longevity clinic at Pure Health, and now serves as Chief Medical Officer of Omics Precision Health, something that we will talk about a little bit later on, alongside multiple advisory and leadership roles across life sciences, regenerative medicine, and translational science. Dr. Mishkat is also a founding member and vice president of the Emirates Lifestyle and Longevity Medicine Society, regional director of the British Society of Lifestyle Medicine in the Middle East, and a faculty board member and a colleague of mine at the Geneva College of Longevity Science. Her work sits at the intersection of clinical rigor, systems design, and real-world health span implementation, making her uniquely positioned to discuss where longevity medicine is truly heading, especially in this region. Dr. Mishkat, welcome.
Thank you so much for having me. You
Excited.
make me sound like I'm so busy.
Yeah, you are so busy. It took us forever to manage this. It's amazing to have you.
Thank you for having me. It's been
so I'd love to start for you to show people how awesome you are. I need to know a little bit about you. Give us a little bit about your background, please.
Well, where do we start? So I'm 37 years old. Okay, I've been on this planet this long, and I'm a third culture kid. So I was born in Sudan. I grew up in Saudi first part of my life. Then I moved back to Sudan where I did my medical schooling. And then I moved to Europe soon after that, where I finished my postgraduate and my training studies. And I've always wanted to be a doctor. I moved into healthcare in Sudan where I saw that the health system needed fixing. And I was like 21 when I graduated. I was like, oh my God, I need to fix this health system. It's broken. I need to do public health. And then I applied for a double master's in public health from University of Sheffield. And I was also intercalating in France as a part of that. And in Denmark, I did my second master's in Copenhagen in health service delivery and disease prevention. I applied for a scholarship, didn't think I was gonna get it. I got it and I was like, woo, let's go to Europe. Let's figure this out. And I started and I was like, okay, the world is my oyster. I can definitely apply this. This is super interesting. I left medicine at that time, like clinical medicine, and moved into public health. And I remember one of the first things that I learned in Denmark was how air pollution can impact asthma attacks in populations, and how the design of the width of the street and the height of the buildings and the direction of the buildings compared to historical data of wind can impact what happens with air pollution in that area. And kids have less asthma attacks compared to those who were not in those areas, and especially if they had trees around. And I was like, oh my God, health is actually shaped outside of the four walls that I sit in as a doctor. And I got much more interested in that. I did do my clinical work. I did go into general practice, but I was always looking for answers. And I think my curiosity led me to lifestyle medicine. It led me to the board certification of that. It led me to functional medicine, which I trained in after. And it led me to asking more questions to my patients and figuring out that, me giving a medication or just monitoring blood work over time is me doing a pretty bad job of looking after their health and preventing disease and giving them the chance to live a full life into their 80s and 90s. And then I started becoming more entrepreneurial, as we were talking before, as I built my own clinic with my brother. So he had a very successful empire of IVF and recurrent miscarriages, and I was helping optimize his patients' preconceptions. People forget about the men.
Of course.
But you have to optimize both, like egg and
yeah.
sperm quality is super important. So doing that lifestyle piece with them, having a team, a multidisciplinary team, somebody looking after their stress management, doing acupuncture, their exercise, functional nutrition, all of that really came together super nicely. And then I moved so this was all in the UK, and then I moved to Dubai 3 years ago now. And as you say, I've just been busy ever since, just building one clinic after another.
You've taken the town and by storm. It's incredible. We share so many people. We know, everyone knows you.
Likewise.
It's
We're
incredible.
in the same tribe, I like to call it.
Yes,
We're building together, and I love what you've built. Alhamdulillah, I've been fortunate enough to be able to build the same. And the piece that I am very proud of the most, to be honest, is my work with the society, because it's instrumental to get everybody on board to speak the same language. Like you and I speak the same language, but we need more doctors to speak this language to help patients. And part of our role is to build capacity, and how you do that is through education, which I love to do, you love to do through GCLS, which is an amazing platform. But we're lucky enough to be able to do that through the conferences that we run with the society and through the exam that we run for lifestyle medicine certification with international board. So
that's amazing. That is amazing. And you're one of the very few doctors that is not afraid to get out of the clinic. I think you actually prefer it. Right? So I think
I love both, yeah.
But I know you do, obviously. This is part of your training, but you're not afraid of that. Most doctors are really afraid of stepping out of that.
Yeah, no, I love to be out and about, for sure.
Yeah, and I don't mean just physically, obviously, but also your thinking, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Your thinking expands way beyond that, and I think you're in many ways a visionary when it comes to a functional medicine, because you see it as a holistic thing right from the start.
100%.
And you don't see the person just as that, but everything that is around them.
Everything is connected.
From their family to where they live to the quality of the air to whatever, So, and this is, I think, where you and I can geek on forever when it comes to these things. And what I love about you also is having this marriage of clinical plus executive. I think that gives you a unique edge to be able to make a difference in how things are viewed in the healthcare system. So what was it at the beginning that drew you into longevity medicine? What was it about it? Because obviously, knowing you stepped into it to make a difference, to change it, to make it better. There was something there. It's not just it doesn't happen by chance with you. So I think you've planned this well. So I'd love to hear, what is it about longevity science, medicine in general, that attracted you the most?
Good question. I don't know if I planned it fully, but I think by nature, the way I grew up and just living in different cultures, and the exposure that I had with my education and the people that I met along those paths really shaped how I think quite a lot. So there is that nature versus nurture. So I'm naturally curious, but at the same time, I learned so much from the people around me. And I'm always asking curious questions. And that gets me to, I don't settle for this is enough, what else? What is the root cause? And root cause medicine is functional medicine. But when you look at root cause medicine, I'm like, there's still something missing, because when I look at lifestyle, when I look at functional, but then there's that precision piece that's missing, like the genetics. That plays a huge role in, a fairly big role. We previously used to say 30%, but now the latest data shows up to 50% if our lifespan is determined by our genetics. But it's all of those things. And then we look at our built environment, and how does me living in my home, in my car, in my office affect me? I ask those questions. I'm just curious, and you're the same. And then I layer it on with wearable data. It's all around us. All this very cool testing that we can do at home now. How do I make sense of all of that, put it together so that I can have a really 360 snapshot of what is going on to prevent you from getting sick, right? And for me, it's a personal thing. I lost my dad when I was just under 21, right? I'm 37 now, so it's almost over 16 years. And actually his death anniversary is in a week. I don't forget him at all. He's my dad. I loved him to death. And the reason I started getting more curious is because I have a very strong family history of heart attacks and stroke really early on. And my dad had his first heart attack when he was 41. Wow. And he had another one. He was Professor Majdi Yagoub's one of his first patients for a triple bypass in the UK. And my aunt passed away 42 in her sleep. We don't know if it was a heart attack or a stroke. It was either or. And I have another uncle who had the same. And I'm sitting there thinking, big question mark, what is going on with my family history that I need to figure out? Something is genetic. Lipoprotein A is a big factor in this. And I've tested myself. Unfortunately, I have high lipoprotein A, so now I need to work on that. And I've asked my whole family to test as well. And that's where you get, and now American Heart Association now made lipoprotein A and ApoB standard practice, which we've been doing for years in functional medicine, right? But it's that level of precision. It's like we know the history, we know we want to look after ourselves, we don't want to die early, we don't want to wither away or be unable to function at our best capacity. And how do we get all this data that we need to track over time? Not a single test, khalas. Like I need to test and then intervene. So data, intervention, outcome, track over time, and then refine the process. The first thing you need to know is knowledge. Knowledge is power. Like if I knew, and these doctors tested my dad 30 years ago, maybe he could have lived longer, Allahu A'lam, but he could have had a better quality of life, right? So, and I want that for everyone else. Nobody should lose their loved one early or prematurely, let's say. But for me, it's those two things. It's like family is important, data is important for us to delve deep, save who we can, and prevent it. And then the other part is I've just been always curious, asking the right questions from everyone around me. And I've been very fortunate to meet super interesting people from all around the world. In my master's, in my work, and now in Dubai, obviously it's a melting pot of over 200 nationalities. We're so lucky. All of these things come together for me, and I just felt like this is what we need to do for longevity medicine to be successful, to get all the data so that it's a 360 approach.
Amazing. And I think you view it also that the future of healthcare is longevity healthcare, right? I mean, this is how everything's going to be kind of geared towards.
100%.
And I love what you've said, and we share a lot of this. I know we haven't talked personally about our backgrounds, but I share a lot of what you went through. I actually lost both my parents within the same year, within months of each other, and both to kind of diseases that could have been changed through lifestyle.
Yes.
So understanding that just is fundamental, and you think, what a shame,
100%.
So, and not just for the people that are closest to you, but what does it mean for everyone else? And one of my favorite things, and you said about knowing, and then I also always ponder about the fact that I don't know what I don't know yet. So I think we get a little bit too arrogant too quickly about certain things. And I've seen this also in this space.
100%.
And then people start, that's it, this is what it's going to be. Is it ApoB, then it's going to be that. That's it. Yeah. There's always more. Like, keep digging. And this is what makes you so special. One of the many things, obviously, is that you're always digging. You're always finding other new ways to look at, what does it mean for someone to have a fulfilling health span? And you must add that word. It needs to be fulfilling. I mean, this is what life is about. It's to be lived, right?
Absolutely.
And not to go from one doctor, one clinic to another, and constantly.
That longitudinal tracking over time, صراحة, for me. And I see it with my patients, and they get excited. I get excited because you're like, you can see the delta in the difference. We did this happened. Good. Your HRV's up because this happened. Literally, just a few days ago, I had one of my patients. For her HRV was always on the lower side, and we're working on bringing it up. And it came up with simple things like walking in the forest with her son on holiday, or using a weighted blanket, or little things like that.
That's what's so amazing, because you can measure now. You know, it wasn't as easy before. You know, what is it? Maybe less than a decade ago, you had to put on equipment to measure something like this. I mean, I think you use something still. You know that I use something as well, where we measure people over 24 hours or 2 days or 3 days to kind of get more of a sense of their HRV.
Yes.
But it used to be a chore. Like it used to be, you know, something complicated. Now anyone can do it, and you could easily see it in real time. But then again, just like almost everything else, we tend as human beings to go to extremes. So even with wearables and trackables and things like that, you see now the other side of it. Because as human, we tend to go always to the,
people get super excited.
A little bit more.
And I think people get anxious also. Like they become obsessed.
That's what I meant, yes.
Yeah, for me, it's like you need to gauge what type of person it is who will be okay with it. And they will tell you, they'll be like, actually, it will stress me out to use it, so let's not. In the clinic, we use, for HRV, we use an HRV analysis system where we actually pull it out from like an ECG. So you do an ECG and we measure the RMSSD on that, which gives you the HRV measurement. And you tell the difference between the balance between your autonomic and parasympathetic systems. And it's super nice because it's super accurate. So I love that you mirror the same. So and we're talking about
Omics now, right?
We're talking about Omics.
Yeah. So while we're on it, shall we just stop for a minute? I'd love to hear about it because I know you're very excited about it, and the little that I know of it, obviously it seems so amazing. So this is an up and coming. Or is launching soon?
Yes.
But hopefully by the time this is out, it will be completely, it will be all open and people can check it out. Yeah. Tell me a little bit about it, please. We'll come back to the conversation. I just want to hear a little bit about it. Of course.
So Omics Precision Health we're based in Jumeirah, and it's a very new concept it's not like what I'm trying to bring to life, and I think I've been very successful in doing that, is we are a translational neuroscience and healthspan clinic. So what does that mean? Neuroscience is the science of aging and translating it from the science to practical applications.
Day-to-day stuff,
Day-to-day stuff. Like, how do I make sense of this data to make your life better and help you be healthy? Ultimately, we're very much based on an integrative functional and lifestyle medicine approach. All of our physicians are trained in that. And we use a 360 approach, like I mentioned to you. And it's multi-omic layered. So we start with the base, and I like to describe the clinical medicine that I do now. Let's say, I don't know, we call it 3.0 or whatever we want to call it. The lifestyle foundation is always there. That with the prevention piece. So what I like to say, the not so sexy things that people don't really want to do, your mammogram, your prostate cancer screening, your colon cancer screening, that saves lives. That is not to be missed. There's no point. People get excited, hey, I want an IV NAD drip and hyperbaric, but I'm not doing my basic screening.
Yes.
You're optimizing before you have a foundation. Prevention screening, then the lifestyle data, which we take a lot of data from our patients from wearables and from a lot of validated questionnaires. And we map how you're doing. Your day-to-day will tell me what you're at risk of developing. And then we use specific risks to determine the risk of different things like cardiovascular disease, Alzheimer's risk, cancer risk, as well as metabolic risk. So those are the 4 horsemen, let's say, of diseases that contribute to reducing our longevity. And then we layer on with functional medicine, extensive testing. So we go down, your Dutch Plus testing. We also do gut microbiome testing, organic acids, mold toxins are very big in the UAE, mycotox, I know. Yes, and heavy metals, and we go through microplastics as well. So we do very extensive testing on a functional medicine level. And then we add on, so your protocols will be based on the functional, then we add on your regenerative therapies, depending on what you need, peptides, bioidentical hormones, we can count them in that. And soon to come, stem cell therapy under certain licenses. And then finally, we layer on what I like to call adjunct therapies.
Okay.
And these have emerging evidence, but we need to add to that body of knowledge, which is your IV nutritional therapies, your hyperbaric oxygen, your intermittent hypoxic therapy, red light therapy, so photobiomodulation, and EBU, so extracorporeal blood oxygenation and ozonation, and a few others. And we're kind of borrowing, let's say hyperbaric oxygen, I'll take that for example. We are an ozone. These are borrowed from other indications. So hyperbaric oxygen, traditionally, we have used for decompression sickness, for diabetic wounds, very tricky gangrene wounds. But now there's a lot of research. One of the people leading in that is Hadani et al. They have a lot of papers on that, on hyperbaric oxygen application in healthy individuals for cognitive improvement.
For quite a long time, right?
For quite a long time, absolutely. But it's not mainstream medicine.
No.
And we need to add to that body of knowledge. So that is one thing. Ozone is the same. Ozone has a lot of applications for over 20 years in cancer therapy. And now we're moving it into longevity, because there are implications. It improves oxidative stress. We need oxidative stress reduction for our DNA to function properly. So layering all of that together, and then we have a multi-omic 360 approach. We have needed to build our own electronic medical record, believe it or not, which is taking us months, so that we can combine all of this data with the back end of LLM, which 100% we cannot function without now, and we can see the benefit of using AI. No human can take all of this data. We're measuring millions of data points, including wearables, including genetics. I can't analyze all of this data by myself. It needs to be built on a brain, which is an amalgamation
exclusive
of experts.
does that, yes, specifically.
And then it builds on those protocols that you feed it, as well as the data, and back end into validated, peer-reviewed studies. I think that is what the future needs and will need, and this is what we need now already, to be honest. But it's not easy to build.
But as this space is evolving so quickly, also, I think you're also tapping into all the new stuff that are coming in too, because the peer reviews, be it sort of papers that are coming out on a day-to-day basis now, because it's such a hot space to kind of talk about. But the other thing that I really loved about you saying is that it's almost, you'd never have someone that would come at the final layer, right?
No.
So,
and I wouldn't let them come in.
Right,
that
exactly.
Layer,
that's what I love about you too.
Yes,
Exactly.
yes, it's an education.
Because the whole talk about longevity is that final layer.
100%. Yeah.
So there's very little sort of authentic, grounded, without hype talk about all the other layers that you've mentioned, be it the diagnostic side, be it how you approach the preventative, the data, all of the sort of coming together, which is boring to talk about for most people, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
but
so
it's super important.
Of course, but what I mean is that's why you don't get a cool content creator kind of focusing on, let's talk data. Like, they're not going to do that, right? So it's unfortunate.
But this is why we're having this
conversation.
Exactly.
Exactly.
And I want to give a shout out to my team. Again, I know and people always say to me, oh, aren't you, when I build, they're like, okay, aren't you afraid that this could be replicated elsewhere, or like the protocols could be leaked or whatever? To be honest with you, everyone can have a protocol, but how you apply it is the difference.
Yeah.
And I'm my team, and I've needed to do a lot of upskilling. Alhamdulillah, some are super specialized, some require training, and we've trained up, and you invest in these people, and they are incredible at what they do, but everybody is an expert in their fields. And this is what I love, is that we focus on performance, and in performance, we're looking at your exercise, we're looking at your nutrition, we're looking at your stress and your psychology. So our neuropsychologist digs deep. They'll do brain mapping to see how you're doing, and then determine if you need neurofeedback as a result of that. And then a health coach, our functional medicine trained health coach, incredible. That is the key, because I can give you an amazing plan, فوق تحت, and the whole team would contribute to it. But if you don't know where to start, and I can't break that down for you in simple steps with the health coach guide, you're going to be like, khalas, I can't. Everybody's going to just get overwhelmed and not know where to start. And that's where procrastination happens. But for us, it's just, there is a plan. Every 3 months, there will be something that we have to work on. And it's a journey. It's not a snapshot of, hey, come to our clinic and go. La, it's memberships. We have memberships for years, for at least a year. And you have to follow with the plan, and you need to be committed. And that's the thing that I always talk to all my patients بالأول, I call it the 2 why framework. Why you want to do it? Why are you here? Are you ready? And I always like to say, I have to ask, I think this is Hippocrates, I might be wrong. You have to ask the person if they're willing to give up what's making them sick before you try to make them healthy.
Right?
And that's their why. I need to know what their why is. And then I need to do my part, all the training that I've done, all of the education, to tell you why you need to do what I'm recommending. And we need to find a middle ground that is sustainable for you. ما بيصفي أنا I'll say do this, do this, do this, but actually you're super busy and you're traveling the world. I need to make it match your lifestyle.
Yes, yes, and I think you come across this quite a bit, that your patients, clients, whatever you call them, it's against human nature. Find it difficult to tell you the truth. So it takes a little bit of time to pull that information from them. So you're never going to ask someone, do you want to be healthy? They say no. Like everyone's going to say yes, but that's there's a huge difference between just simply saying yes and actually going down the road or getting on a path to truly be healthy.
Yeah.
You and I know what it takes for that to happen, right? And when you look at it from the outside, it takes too much, but it's your lifestyle. When I look at you, it seems like you're doing a lot, but for you, it's just who you are.
Yeah.
You wake up and you do this, and this is how you choose your food, and it's just it. Yeah. It becomes a path.
It becomes routine.
Right? So, and that's really where the real change happens, is that when you switch from continuously thinking about am I healthy, am I not, and just simply doing it.
Doing it.
Yeah?
It's
Without
that
thought.
That mindset shift, and that day that you choose that.
Yeah. So my constant struggle is always about trying to find examples, in real world examples, to demonstrate to individuals of, do you have that mindset, yes or no? So some of the stuff that I say, and I think we've discussed this, I don't know if we've discussed this before or not, like, going to the airport and standing on the escalator until you get to where you need to be going. Or the moment when you get to the airport, you find a seat.
Yeah.
Even though you're going to be on an airplane for hours and hours, right?
Exactly.
So that's a person who's not ready. Now, obviously, I'm generalizing. You could be tired. You could have had a long night. I don't know. There could be many. But what I mean, if your instinct is not to move, is to sit immediately, that means you're someone who has not yet got on a path where you don't even have to think about that. I always joke. I've seen people at my gym literally sitting in their cars waiting on the front door for the first car to leave so they could park closest to the door.
Wow.
No, that person doesn't really want to be at the gym.
No.
So if I literally try to park as far away as, because it's part of my it's part of my day, right? It's part of my routine. So you can tell, and that most likely that person doesn't notice, and it's not like in their mind there's a rationale behind being closest to the door, this, that, and obviously sometimes the weather, and again, generalizing. We're not judging, I'm not trying to, so it's just in general speaking. So by these little sort of indications, you can begin to tell if the person is, when I say to people, I go to sleep at this time, wake up at this time, how could you? Like, why would that sounds so ridiculous for people that are sleeping?
Oh my God, my family and everyone in my socials, they're like, guys, we have to go. It's 9:30. It's Mishkat's bedtime.
Yes. Yes, right.
I'm like, my bedtime is 9:30. I need to leave here 8:30.
Yes, right.
So
So
it becomes what you're known for.
Yeah. And then it becomes, a proper review of your priorities.
Yes.
Right.
That's
so
super important.
when you realize that your health is not your number one, and you could easily find that out, based where your energy is going towards. Yeah. And then that leads to something that I'm very passionate about, and I try to scream it off rooftops, is that biology dictates reality. Yeah. Because it's the gift that keeps on giving, right? So the healthier you are, the more likely that you are to deal with situations in a very different way. Yeah. Be it an uncertainty time, be it extra stress, be it surprises as life does all the time, be it something as silly as someone cutting you off on the road.
How do you react to that?
How do you react, right?
Yeah,
so it's biology
true.
Dictates reality.
100%.
And I want people to remember that. I think, we miss that part. If we're negative toward each other, is stemming from some place that needs to be fixed and is usually related to biology. Yeah. If you're someone who is toxic, it stems from a place that is usually related to biology. If you are, if you're not capable of love or receiving love, it comes somewhere from biology. So biology dictates reality. So when you get on that path, everything starts falling into place.
100%. Yeah.
Going back to Omics quickly.
Tell me.
There's one question I wanted to ask you, because you and I have seen so many of these clinics that are aesthetics and other types now kind of being rebranded as longevity.
Yeah.
What do you think about that? Because I want us to be honest, right? Because people obviously, when they see a longevity clinic, right? they think they're going to be served for what they're actually looking like, some of the stuff that we're talking about, right?
Yeah.
But you and I know that's not the case.
No,
right?
it's not the case.
So
and it shouldn't be.
Right. I want to hear, I'd love to hear what you have to say.
Tricky, but
Okay.
I'm very black and white with these things. For me, if you want to call your clinic a longevity clinic, then you have to do the work, right? If you want to I don't have a problem with people pivoting, but you have to pivot with the right team.
Yes.
Right? It's all about the team. It's all about the knowledge. If let's say you're an aesthetic clinic, we have aesthetics as our clinic, by the way. I'll give you an example.
It's a layer, right?
It's a layer.
Yeah.
It's a layer. If you don't, I mean, people are they judge you by how you look. Let's be honest. So if you don't look healthy, your skin doesn't look great. The skin is a reflection of your gut and your internal biology. Then people aren't going to think you're healthy. You have to look the part also, unfortunately.
Not that that's important. What's
Not
important for you,
important,
it's just in general speaking, right?
But now, like Mayo Clinic just recently launched their skin span protocols. Like this actually been branded as a skin span, like the longevity of your skin. But let me come back to that. For skin, in our clinic, we use an integrative aesthetic approach, which means that we're testing your hormones, we're testing your micronutrients. You need vitamin E for your skin to function.
All is related.
All is related. We need to test your genetics, right, to understand how your collagen structure is, and your oxidative stress markers, and how B12 is very important for our skin as well. And if you have an MTHFR gene mutation, that impacts. Then the next layer is your gut. Your gut reflection. Your skin is the largest organ, and your gut is a huge reflection of your skin. And the patients that come in to see me for psoriasis, first thing I'm testing, let's look at your gut. Let's look at your childhood, doing an adverse childhood
8
event.
out of 10 things you have to look at the gut first, I believe. Isn't it? Like it's just almost
like mental health, patients,
Yes.
depression, anxiety, they come, I'm like, let's look at your gut.
Yeah.
And literally 10 out of 10 I find something, and there's always a gut protocol that I have to prescribe. So we look at the gut, we look at the hormones, we look at the micronutrients, we look at your genetics, and then we do there's no way to fight local fat loss or collagen loss, right? You have to do aesthetic treatments. But if you don't address the layers, the building blocks of the collagen to help it become more of a regenerative approach, to help the inflammation from the gut perspective, then you're just putting a plaster for a little bit. Okay, you look good for a while, but then the root cause is not actually being addressed. The foundations of the home are not being addressed. If people do that approach, absolutely, but then you need to do your training in functional medicine. You need to do your training in regenerative medicine if you're going to use those technologies. You need to change your mindset and understand what is required and how to look at these pieces. Get a genetic counselor in-house to help bring all of that together.
Even the amount of time that you spend with the client, right?
Oh,
because traditional medicine, you come in 10, 15 minutes, that's
I
in your
spend 1 hour minimum with each patient, and I don't see more than 6 patients a day. 6 patients is a busy day for me. It's like, my goodness. But coming back to that, there is a huge problem in the UAE and the GCC and worldwide.
Worldwide, I would say.
Worldwide. And people are pivoting and they want to do longevity and they don't really know what that means or what's required, and it can be dangerous. If you don't have, I'm always looking and checking to see if the person is, and again, this would be advice to everyone, not just me and what I look for. But if a longevity clinic doesn't have a certified physician with a background in either family medicine or internal medicine, plus they have training in lifestyle medicine, functional medicine, precision medicine, and they have a team that does the different pillars of lifestyle, then they're not doing it right.
Yeah. So, because the space is, as we said at the beginning, that it's growing so quickly, now businesses have to pivot, right? Because everyone is now asking for functional medicine doctor or expert or whatever without really knowing what that is, we're all learning. So, what I mean is that even because the space is moving so quickly, some of us are trying to catch up, some of us are learning, some of us are discovering, and so on. As you'll see, many of the listeners or people are watching, there are different entry levels for it yet still. So it's still in its infancy, but it's moving at an incredible rate that we haven't seen before in any industry, because of AI, because of information dissemination, because of demand and so on, and because of COVID, because of other things that that taken place recently. So it's an incredibly exciting time to be part of, and I think obviously we're not judging these places that are going through a pivot or a move, a lateral move maybe. I don't know what kind of move they're doing, but moving towards the right direction. But at the same time, putting the word longevity behind something doesn't mean much.
There's no such thing as a longevity board certification. It does not exist.
Right.
Right? So when we
That's clear, right? We need to repeat that. There is no professional, recognized board for longevity.
No,
yeah.
Mafi. It doesn't exist. There are masters, there are courses, fine. But the amalgamation of the things that you do through informal or formal training and courses and education makes for a foundation of longevity.
And also walking the talk. You do it.
You have
right?
to do it.
Not,
you have
to do it. I wish everyone would say that. Right?
But it's like going to a cardiologist 30 years ago and he's sitting there smoking a cigarette.
Exactly,
do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, but look at our colleagues, right? Not all of them walking the talk, right?
Yeah, they have to.
Yeah, so it's again, we're all making that change, right? So I firmly believe in that. If you're not able to do it yourself, because this is not like teaching. It's not like, just do as I say, not as I do type situation. Like you have to experience it in order to know, because it's not a simple intervention. It's an involved, intricate, every aspect of your life, from your bedroom to your sheets to what you wear to the air that you breathe to the car that you drive, like everything, to the people that you associate with, to what's happening in your own brain, everything. So if you are incapable of doing that, I think as a healthcare professional, as a provider, you're slightly off, and hopefully you'll get there, because it's a combined effort. It takes a village. We all need to be doing it in order for things to happen, right? So we will all get there eventually. We're just not there completely yet.
Not there, and it will take years. يعني احنا in public health we call it behavior change communication, and behavior change takes 20 years on average.
Yeah.
To actually in public health make a change.
I feel in the UAE it takes much quicker. It takes much less than that, right?
This is perhaps shorter, for sure. And I think what helps as well is the policies.
Of course.
That accelerate
the red tape,
that. They accelerate that quite a lot. Not as much red tape as like Europe and other areas of the world, but policies are super important. But the other thing I would like to highlight as well is that when I came here 3 years ago, I'll tell you a funny story. I sent out my CV to a few clinics, and I'm a family medicine consultant, and I was like, I want to set up a pilot clinic for lifestyle medicine. And everyone was like, sorry, what is that? We'll give you a job for family medicine, but lifestyle medicine. And I'm like, it's this. And then I delved deeper into like functional, and then I was like, I want to set up this. And nobody would listen. And now, fast forward, and the doctors that I met with, I found a small tribe, the likes of you, the likes of other doctors and healthcare professionals who do functional, do lifestyle. I had to build. I actually set up a WhatsApp group 3 years before. There were like 20 people on it, max. We're all board certified. Now we have over 90 people. They're members of the society. And last year, so fast forward 3 years, last year we had the first ever conference for lifestyle longevity medicine, the UAE's first national one, with the society. And we had 450 people turn up, and 44 people sat for the board certification. And 36 passed, alhamdulillah. So
which board certification we're talking about?
International Board of Lifestyle Medicine.
Oh, okay, right. We're not talking about longevity because we said there's
Mafi for longevity. For lifestyle medicine, there is. It's actually based on the work of the American College of Lifestyle Medicine.
Right.
So, which was established 2004, so 22 years ago now. And then I saw faces and names that 2 years before, a year before, they were like, what is lifestyle medicine?
Yes.
Inti, you're speaking a different language. This is not practical, blah, blah, And it's like, it wasn't negative, but it was like, شو هاي يعني. And now they're sitting the exam, or they're wanting to sit the exam next year, and they're like, oh my God, we missed the slot. And I'm like, wow, people are listening. People are paying attention. And they're seeing how this can be improved. And part of the board certification is to submit a case study. And the case studies were incredible because you could see the power of type 2 diabetes reversal, hypertension reversal. I don't think اتوقعوا إنه they would be doing that in clinical practice in 3 months or 6 months and helping these patients in that way. I'm not needing to prescribe a medication.
Right.
And then they're like, wow. And they came to the conference and it was 3 packed days. On the 3rd day, they were like, we don't want this conference to end. They're like, we've never been to a conference. We're as excited and as exhilarated because they were suddenly part of a new tribe. There was over 100 people that got to know each other who were doctors, and now they're like, they have study groups together and they're moving in that direction. And I think this is it's an inflection point, I think, for the UAE من السنة اللي فاتت to this year, where we can actually move forward and have people speak this language. And I love that you have this podcast because it helps get the word out, but we need to do more and more. And let's keep doing this, but I think we're going in the right direction.
What makes me particularly proud also is that when you travel abroad, even like major cities, talking London, New York, wherever you want, like whatever the places where you think, people would be kind of at a certain place, right? They're so behind when it comes to where we are here, as far as what we're pushing and how much we're doing and the growth rate and all of that and our approach. So I'm particularly proud of this, and it takes people like yourself and the community
like yourself,
it's
the community and it's the government. And you see so much investment. And there was a round closed for WOOP investment for 75 million from so many subsidiaries of sovereign wealth funds. And you have in Abu Dhabi a lot of sovereign wealth funds, and in Saudi as well you have Evolution Foundation, for example, pushing investment into research, into longevity. You have in Abu Dhabi, there's a lot of push in building the infrastructure for like prevention, for longevity medicine clinic standards. We had that with the Department of Health 2 years ago, the first in the world. And then you have AI and biotech and multi-omic testing, like M42, and that ecosystem there stem with all the biobank and the Emirati Genome Project, stem cells. We're running clinical trials right now, so I manage a company that runs clinical trials, phase 2 clinical trials for osteoarthritis in Abu Dhabi for stem cells that we produce in Sweden. So amazing. As a spin-off company called Cellco Labs from Karolinska Institute. And there's been, like, the Department of Health is keen to have that local data. So we've completed phase 1 trials. Now we're moving to phase 2. But it's just a beautiful, beautiful garden of opportunities. And I'm so blessed. I'm so grateful to be here.
And not just for professionals, right? Even for the individuals that are looking to do something and get on the path that we mentioned earlier. Because I don't want to call it being healthy or get on the, because it's a journey. It's not like it's not a permanent state, right? You and I have bad days.
Of course.
But it doesn't mean that we're off the journey, and it's, we're constantly on that. So while we're talking about that, just to quickly segue into something that I've been meaning to ask you for a while. Okay. So for people that are listening, people that are, kind of interested in this, because that's why people listen to this, where should they start with all this noise, right? I'm someone, we've established that someone needs to want to be healthy, truly.
Yes.
Once
mindset first.
Yes, so we've done that.
Yes.
Where do I start? What are the basics that I should be looking for as a listener in order for me to get started on the journey that you and I are on already?
I'm very fond of assessments. فأنت تعمل honest assessment of your health, and I would keep it very simple to the 6 pillars of lifestyle medicine, okay? What are you eating every day?
Food as medicine.
Food is medicine. How do you feel when you eat different types of foods? So start listening to your body.
Your poop, your gas, your things
poop, your gas, your mood, your energy. Okay, simple things. يعني quick scan. Okay, أنا أكلت donut. How do I feel? Versus I had a salad. How do I feel?
Right.
Simple changes there. تاني شيء, exercise. If you have a wearable, have a look at it. Okay. How many steps am I hitting? How many do I need to hit? How many? ما بعرف.
How many steps should we be hitting?
It varies.
In general.
Minimum,
I know it's a 10,000 and all of that.
10,000.
But for you, what do you do? Forget about like in general. For you.
I move patients from where they are.
No, for you personally.
Oh, for me personally, I hit between 8 to 12.
Okay, perfect.
حسب my day.
Clear.
On holiday, I'm hitting 25.
Yeah, because I mean, it's a fact. We know. I mean, let's be sure the saying in Arabic, "عود أعوج وأحكي جالس."
أيوة.
So like, but yeah, you say 10,000 steps, but in a place like Dubai where your car to parking to elevator to,
بالضبط.
you know, it can be hard, right?
It's super hard.
But it's all intentional.
It's super hard. And
Yeah.
I'm very lucky. I live in a place where there's a garden, a park next to me. So I walk around the park at night.
Okay, perfect. Sorry, I interrupted. Please go ahead.
No, it's okay. بالعكس, it's a super important question. I know people don't know where to start. But honestly, I like to say, I have patients, مثلا, they do 3,000 steps, which is sedentary, office-based, right? And most people are. Okay, can you double it? How do you double it? Let's try after, like, lunchtime walk. بعد ما تخلص, or why don't
too
you have
hot.
a lunch
What would they
meeting?
do?
Have a lunch meeting.
Yeah.
Have a walking meeting.
Walking
sorry.
meeting. I love that.
Walking meeting, walking pad.
Even standing. Yeah.
Meeting standing, standing desk, small changes. And people, there's a big thing here and around the world as well, is weekend warriors. ما في steps وفي sitting. Okay, sitting is the new smoking, by the way. We have to break up our sitting every hour or every hour and a half to get your metabolic flexibility going with your insulin sensitivity.
Yes.
And actually just as simple as doing calf push-ups.
Yes.
After
Even on
eating,
airplanes.
Even 100% on
Yep.
airplanes, so that you reduce the risk of blood clots. But sitting, calves, your soleus muscle is one of the strongest muscles that
I call it the second heart.
It's the second
Did you see
heart.
my content on that?
Yes,
No? Yeah, yeah.
yes,
The
it
second
is,
heart,
it is.
yeah.
It's super important. For calf push-ups you can do, and that reduces your insulin spike. حتى if you've eaten, or in general you're improving your insulin sensitivity, I think between 30 to 40%, if I'm not mistaken. And doing that, so stopping, preventing yourself from sitting for long, sedentary, getting your steps in, and then going to actually physically exercise. And there was a recent study that showed that the variation of exercise improves mortality by up to 20%, it's 19%. So doing your racket sports, doing yoga, running, swimming, doing strength training, boxing, whatever, mix it up.
Because the body is capable of so much.
So much,
right?
so much. You're sometimes, I'm sitting in my yoga class sometimes, and you're doing a malasana squat, and some people can't.
Yeah.
Jama'a, this is hip mobility and flexibility, which is a core foundation for you to be able to get up when you fall when you're 80, right? Yeah. So la samah Allah, you shouldn't even be falling, because your balance training should be on point. So, and your strength training, it's these things. And then you have people who are like, as you said, I want to park close by, I'm not going to get the stairs, they're not doing their steps, they're sitting all day, and then they go and they do gym for like an hour and a half, or even worse, they don't do anything during the week.
Static machines from one machine to another, where you're sitting, and I see people on machines where they'll be doing, and between sets they remain seated.
Yeah.
Like, you know.
Yeah, walk.
Yes, and on their phone.
On their phone,
and
exactly.
Again, so
it's like homework.
Exactly.
You're not
so
enjoying it. You're
ticking
not,
a box.
Exactly. And this increases the risk of injuries, because if you're not walking normally, as a normal day, بعدين احنا you need to. By the way, the UAE has amazing landscapes.
Yeah.
راس الخيمة, القوين, فجيرة. You can go and hike, and it's so different.
Even in hot weathers, the malls are open for you to run in the morning, to walk in the morning, to do all sorts of things.
They launched the marathon last year. And you have to be comfortable with like training. People forget to train their ankles quite a lot.
Yes.
And it's super important, because when you go on these terrains, when you're hiking, it's completely different to you being on a treadmill. Like it's your body's normalizing a movement that is not fully natural, let's say. For that is what I would do. So nutrition, exercise, those pieces. So don't sit too long, get your steps in, and exercise, mix them all up. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to delve deeper into how much of which.
No, I understand.
Can be another episode. And then we have stress, and stress. So sleep. Sleep is a big one.
Yeah.
Super big. لأنه sleep affects your hormones, it affects your mood, it affects your food decisions. For me, if you're not getting enough sleep, and people like sleep is for the weak.
Your lymphatic system. There's the only way you can
prevent dementia.
Yeah.
And reduce inflammation. Sleep is critical. And my favorite book ever is Matthew Walker's.
Oh, cool.
Why We Sleep.
Yeah.
Amazing book. They're based on 30 years of research. It's incredible. Sleep is super important, and it's simple stuff. It's like people don't know that morning sunlight is actually what regulates your circadian pathways, right? And your rhythm. Getting that in, morning sunlight, and then avoiding blue light in the evening, and a few other bits. Just getting your 7 to 8 hours in, make sure they're restful. And I love Aura for that. I'm not like picking or choosing. I haven't Whoop, I have an Apple.
Whatever you used to, yeah.
But I love to track, and I like to see how my body reacts and how my readiness is and how my mood is. And it's I'm super sensitive to bad sleep. Alhamdulillah, I have very good sleep. Then you have so moving into stress, which is a huge issue around the world, مش بس in the UAE. And you need to figure out where that's coming from and how you can reduce it.
And causing inflammation and all other stuff like that, right?
Yeah, it's a huge killer. It's a huge killer. And I know it increases your risk of cardiovascular disease, metabolic inflexibility because of inflammation.
Resistance to fat loss, all sorts of stuff, right?
Cortisol, exactly. Yeah. For that, again, it's important to fix stress. And it's simple things. It's just like, just say no to things that you don't want to do.
Yeah.
I think people have issues with boundaries. فهي this is super important. أول شيء eliminate. إحنا بالأول everything we do is remove, right?
Yeah.
Even in gut protocols, in our heavy metal, everything. Remove the exposure.
Yeah.
Then have a skill set or a routine that helps build resilience.
Yeah.
That's the two things that you need to do. With stress, you're removing, and then you're increasing your resilience by doing other things like certain foods and exercise can help. 100%. And then things like HRV biofeedback regulation with certain apps that you can do. Breathing, I'm a big fan of diaphragmatic breathing. It's very important. One of the big ones is Wim Hof technique, which is incredible.
There's so many of them. It's just,
so many,
I think
4, 7, 8 for
it can be overwhelming for people. I say for breathing is personal. If you know the basics, like holding a breath is helpful to you.
Yeah.
Breathing out slowly is helpful to you. Being intentional with it is helpful to you. Stick around these. Whatever you want to do. You want to do 4, 7, 8, you want to do 3, 5, 6, you want to do like all of whatever. Make up your whatever. Just do that. Understand the basics, the mechanics of it.
And it's super powerful, Dr. Elie. I've had patients that had their HRV improve and their sleep data improve just with breathing before bed.
Yeah.
And the effect lasts for good 2 to 3 days before they then need to do it again. Because I'm like, let's see how long it takes. And literally 3 days later, they're like, okay, I need to do it again because my HRV is going down.
Yes.
But you can see, it has a sustained effect. What kind of medication would do that for you? So that's another one. And then environmental toxin exposure, super important.
Oh, that definitely needs a whole other...
I'll come back for another episode on that one. And that one is essentially related to what you wear, what you put on your body, what you use to clean your house with, and what is in your built environment, in the home and in the office.
Even things that you touch, right? Like even like paper receipts with BPAs and like all sorts of. There's so much, right? There's everything that we're not aware of.
Yeah. Water filtration, air filtration, super important.
Water's being in plastic bottles in the sun and in the heat. And so again, that's a whole thing, right? And we don't want to be like alarmists, but it's just being aware of this and doing something
changes.
like it.
And then the last most important is social connection.
Yes.
Make sure you have someone that you've chosen that is good for you. Don't be in a toxic relationship. If you are, think about doing something about it. Making quality time. أول شيء for yourself. Okay, you need to switch off from work, from being around.
Find your happy place.
You need to slow down. You need to look inward. أول شيء, like see where am I, and I like to do a 360 like audits every few months. I have a structure, like I do a weekly, a monthly, and then a quarterly and an annual, and like see where I am on like different categories.
That sounds just like you. Yes.
So I do that quite regularly across different categories, and just check in with yourself. I'm just like, okay, like how was my day? What did I do today that I was proud of? Or what sucked my energy? Let me not do that again, right? And then you make time to spend quality time with people that you love. We don't know when we're going to lose our loved ones, and you will regret not spending time with them. So spend time with them, and then focus on your wider circle of your like work friends, your friends' friends, and just pick the right partner.
Amazing.
I know you asked me for one thing.
No. I was like, where to start in general. It wasn't one thing.
Where to start? It's just a 360 assessment of those 6 things, and look at them and
take one thing at a time, right?
100%. So I always say, look at those and see where do you think. When you do the assessment, you see I feel like I'm dwelling more on this one. There's more to unpick here. Then that's the one you start with.
Yeah.
It could be sleep. It could be stress. It could be
what we said at the beginning is that when you revisit your priorities and you bring it up, you simply more energy will go towards it. You end up, you'll find yourself doing more and more towards that. You and I can talk forever. I just want to ask you one more question, and then we have to finish, because I'd like to keep the episodes short, and we will do it again and again, hopefully, when you have time. So the last thing, and we touched about this when we met before the episode, because I'd love to touch on that for people to understand where to get their information from, right? We've seen people in the space, people that are not in the space, content creators, influencers, whatever you want to call them, all sorts of things. And then with the language that they use, right? So that I know that you and I ticks us off a little bit. I'll give you quick examples that we discussed before. Like 70 or 80% of people are falling sick because of their salads, for example. Like this is a comment that that just stuck with me because I heard it this morning. So statements like these, right?
Bombastic
statements. Yes. So it's really important, I think, for people to have a filter of the information.
Yes.
Mine is that if something sounds too good to be true or something sounds outlandish, it usually is, and then do your own thing. Do you have any other advice for people because of all of this mess of content and information and this constant barrage of all sorts of things? What do you do? How do you sieve through information, and how do you advise your patients? Yeah, true. What do you do?
Good question. Anna, for me, if it sounds clickbaitish and it sounds outlandish,
they all are, right?
Yeah, don't listen. Check the credentials of who is saying what they're saying. Who are they? What do they know? What are their credentials? That's the first step. Right?
You see doctors, you see physicians, you see people that are, but maybe they're drawn into it's like extremes.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. Something's happening there.
Common sense.
Yeah. But also
it's called common because it should be common.
It's perhaps the least common.
It's the not so common sense. Yes. But what I would say is, to be honest, just use your gut instinct, and which is hard, صراحة, but you have to filter out and cross-check this information with other people in your sphere, right? And I think the problem with social media is that the algorithm will show you more of what you're seeing.
Right.
But then you end up in this bubble of falsehood, potentially, or an extreme view. Don't rely on social media to get other news. بالعكس, you should always be curious to be like, what is someone else saying? Maybe ask AI. AI can hallucinate طبعا, but maybe ask Claude or ask another AI agent, or I don't know, whatever you use, and try to find out if they have an opposing view, and question the AI and say, be critical. This is what I heard. Does this make sense? Why does it make sense? Why does it not make sense? It will give you an argument. It will conflict. Do that. That's the first thing I would do. Use your common sense and speak to other people in real life. And if you know of a doctor that you trust, that is a person in the space that is known for being sensible and being trustworthy, go to them, ask them, follow them. But don't follow. We all know that salad is good for us. We cannot say no.
Yeah, let's not unpack that. Let's leave it. There's so many statements like these.
Yeah. But it's true. That's what I would say. Is there try credentials? Try to find a trustworthy person that is known in the field in another that speaks sense, and use AI with gate rails that allows you to question it in a critical, reasoning way, and do your own research.
It goes back 360. If it is your priority, you will actually approach it differently than if it isn't your second or third or something that you're doing, while you're on break or when you are in your car or waiting for someone. This is not where you get your health information from.
No. But then, by the way, Anna, I learn a lot from reading books.
Yeah.
Of well-known authors.
Reading, listening, whatever it is, yeah.
Yeah, research.
Because you can do audiobooks, right?
So you can do audiobooks.
There's no excuse.
So books, whether you read or listen to them, there's so much out there. And I've not yet come across a book that speaks crazy language like social media does. You know? And you need to look at who the author is.
There's something about social media that whatever you say, it seems like it's up in the air, like no one really cares, But when you put it down on paper, it's like a reference that you could go back. It's just
exactly.
it's approached. It's like it's approached differently. Just quickly, then also I want to see if you agree this with me. It's also because now there's like a pandemic of WhatsApp groups.
Oh, yeah.
all over the place that are giving all sorts of advice on all sorts of things.
Yeah.
Again, please, I think, in my opinion, should be taken with a huge pinch of salt. And consider it maybe of a, I don't know, some sort of an input, like one data point of many data points. Because if it works for this person, let's not go down that road again, because there's so much happening there.
Yeah.
And I know that you're part of many of these groups, and you see.
I see what's happening.
You see what's happening.
I like to be in them so I can see what's happening.
Exactly, and I hardly interact.
I don't interact. I just want to see what people are talking about, and a lot of it irks me sometimes. I know it is dangerous, but this is why we do what we do, and we talk about what is important. And you put all this amazing content out, and you recently, one of the big my pet peeves is NAD.
Yes.
Actually, and I'd take a second to talk about that and know people who are not from the longevity world, or like their background is completely different, praising IV NAD and saying this is this and that. You need to, two things. You need to test for NAD, which you can do from a mitochondrial medicine perspective. There is actually a spin-off company from Finland, Helsinki University, that does NAD testing, and there are so many other companies that do it.
So many innovation in the space.
So much innovation to test. Not everybody, yes, NAD goes down. It's an important molecule for energy and for our mitochondrial function, but it goes down in different ways for different people. We can test, and for different genders as well, right? We can test and see the level, and then NAD will actually help a healthy cell grow, but it will also help a cancer cell grow. Mm-hmm. So if you don't do your circulating tumor cells or baseline testing for cancer screening, you could potentially be increasing the risk of cancer. You need to know this data. This is the beauty of data. Baseline, then I can say, okay, let's give you NAD. And NAD, IV, some people do need IV, like Parkinson's disease, you can use very high doses to help them, but other people may need just oral supplementation with a precursor. But there's a spectrum, like what works for you would be different, very dependent on the baseline testing that we do for you and your medical history and your family history. And then oh my God, I have
yes,
for
I know,
everyone.
I know. Everything is sort of positioned as if it is the holy grail.
There's no such
unfortunately, it does not exist, and that's a full stop to that. Yeah. And if we're talking about precursors, there's a whole other, NR versus NMN, and all sorts of things that you go down the road of. So there's a lot of things to be unpacked, I think. And again, the key element that we're still learning.
Yes.
So no matter what we say today, there could be a change to it because we're learning about it.
100%.
We're always learning.
Yeah.
So let's all learn.
Let's all learn. And I always say, oh my God, Dr. Elie, the more I learn, every course I do, every learning I do, and I learn from my patients, by the way, Kaman. I'm like, the more I know, the more I realize how much more I don't know.
Yeah, always, yeah.
Wallah, and it's humbling.
Yeah, 100%.
And I really love learning, and I'm very curious, and I'm like, you know what, it's okay. Next year I'll be speaking same language, maybe different language, maybe add the depth to my language. But alhamdulillah, it's I would say just everybody just be curious. That's it.
And stop taking things so seriously. Just slow down, calm down a little bit. Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
It's such a privilege to have you. I love our conversation.
Thank you.
I hope you enjoyed it too.
I absolutely loved it.
Yeah,
this has been my favorite podcast episode ever.
Thank you so much. Thank you. So I think it's going to be like a 2-part episode because it's a little bit long. So we're going to have to divide it into 2, I think, just to kind of have a easily digestible sort of content. But thank you again for finding the time to being with me, and I hope to see you again very soon.
Thank you so much, Dr. Elie. It's such a pleasure.
It's my pleasure. Pleasure is all mine. Thank you. Well, here you heard it, guys. Thank you so much for listening. If you have any comments or any questions for Dr. Mishkat or myself, please feel free to comment. And I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Stay kind to each other.